Hello everyone, I'm Rana Hazem Al Haddad. I will show us my presentation about the men and women in Shakespeare play. When we talk about Shakespeare play, of course we will talk about Shakespeare himself, and I will talk about William Shakespeare biography. He was born 1564 to 1616 in the country of Owen, and received his primary education in his village of Strafford, where he studied the principles of Latin languages. Then depended on history and literature before having to work without completing the stage of his studies due to the deteriorating financial condition of his father. So William Shakespeare, he um, was poor, and then he moved to London. When he moved to London, he joined. He joined the most famous theatre groups as a writer and actor, and there he published his first poetic work entitled Venus and Adonis. To follow after that his creations in poetry and theatre, where life in London gave him the reasons for success, fame and fortune, with a large number of his competitors acknowledging his superiority and the immortality of his works. His literary style, um, of course, William Shakespeare began his career on the stage with the art of comedy and history. And, and history. The plot in his plays was characterized by high artistry and complexity. Then he wrote about tragedy knowledge. It's amazing that the writing style and William Shakespeare's works and the nature of psychological characters with their spontaneity and realism provide the opportunity to return to reinterpret and study them in various culture and political contexts around the world. After that, after this, William Shakespeare created great plays in which there were many colors of knowledge despite not having received much science, and perhaps um, the most prominent content of Shakespeare's plays is these various psychological features of human models. Human models that speak in twisted terms and may be costly in a complex verbal manipulation based on the principle of tone within the general tragedy of the text. And William Shakespeare uses many metaphors and repetitions to formulate many contradictory scenes full of strangeness, of fate, full of wisdom, and sometimes on the tongue of his characters he uses many methods of irony, platitudes full of hairless fun. And here, and this slide, we'll talk about the men and women. Um, the men and women presented in Shakespeare's plays, such like King Lear play and Othello, and both differ and are similar in various ways. Shakespeare adheres to many contemporary stereotypes of how men and women should or shouldn't have acted in the Jacobean era. Gender is of great significance and his place as the society of the Jacobean era was patriarchal. Therefore, it comes as no surprise that men and women are presented differently. Women have often been associated with weakness or inferior intelligence, in contrast to men, who have been portrayed as powerful and firmly in control. So, Shakespeare's work also carries stronger underlying connotations that the women do share similar traits as men, which contrast greatly with the typical view of men and women at the time. In King Lear, play, Cordelia returns with an army. This is Act 4, Scene 4. This put her in a place of power as she's in control of her soldiers. Shakespeare's here portrayal of women is revolutionary to the Jacobean era and would have been very controversial to the audience at the time. The women in Shakespeare's plays are portrayed in a stereotypical manner which parallels the views of women in the Jacobean era. During the Jacobean era, according to Leach, gender inequality must be viewed in the Elizabethan and Jacobean context. This shows that a woman's social priority in that period was to be feminine, delicate, and caring so that they could take care of family and bear children, stated by Victor, whilst men were meant to be strong, powerful, and ambitious. Due to this, women would have been seen as weaker than men, and Shakespeare's underlying hints of women being stronger than men would be lost in the comedic presentation of women. In conclusion, Shakespeare's and somewhat revolutionary in the way that he portrays women, as he doesn't adhere to the usual expectations of Jacobean women. It's clear that men and women had similarly unequal roles in society, shown through their representation in Shakespeare's play. Through the characters of Cordelia in King Lear play and Desdemona in Othello play, we can see that women have been represented as weak and powerless and that they rely on men. But meanwhile, the characters of Lear in King Lear play and Othello show positions of power and heroism in contrast to the views of women. However, in both characters, Lear especially, we do see another side of men, showing that they can be helpless and that too much power can be their downfall. Thank you for watching my presentation and I hope it will be useful to you.